I like the breakdown. Anyways, what's up, D?
You're so cute.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's another
Salud,
day in paradise. Wow.
salud, salud.
That, well, my goodness. It's a little, oh my Lord. Our 20, is that our Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir?
Yeah, oh 08, oh 08. So I'm gonna have a steak tonight, and so I had to bring this out, and it's really, really good.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to cheers with our cab.
Yeah, I need a refill, so I'll have to head out to Casa Ceja soon. So, anyways, thank you for being on the show. I've been wanting to tell your story. I interview some of the awesomest people, and that's like the best way to kind of, write our narrative is by telling stories that already exist. And so tell us a little bit for our viewers, a little bit about you and your story and Ceja.
Yes, of course. So my name is Dalia Ceja. I am now fourth generation Latina, working with my wine production family business, Ceja Vineyards. Here we are. We're based in Napa and Sonoma Valley. And my familia is one of the first pioneering Latino family owned wineries in the United States. It was launched by four founders, my parents, Amelia and Pedro Ceja, and my uncle, Armando Ceja, and his wife, Marta. So my dad and my uncle, brothers, are from Michoacan, and my mom and my tia Marta are from Jalisco. So
So,
two two separate sides of Mexico are being represented, which has been really awesome.
and you were born here.
And I was born here.
So
That's correct.
talk to us about how that was growing up. You're growing up in the United States, you're going to school here. All of a sudden, wine was always part of your life on the table, eating, traditional Mexican food, because I think that's another interview for you is that sometimes people act like it's new to pair good Mexican food with good wine when folks like your family have been doing it all along, correct?
That is correct. My mamacita, my mom Amelia, she's president and founder. She's my mama, but she's also a badass chef. And
Yeah.
her passions have focused around pairing authentic Mexican cuisine paired with our style of wines. And, for us, as wine is an art form, so is cooking, and so is the food and wine pairing aspect. And so I feel so blessed to have grown up in the kitchen with my mom and my abuelitas, to create culinary and wine pairing magic. And for myself, growing up in the middle of our Pinot Noir vineyard in Napa Carneros has been so special. I remember being 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and my contribution during harvest time would be following the crew, picking grapes and tractors as they were emerging. And my little hands would be stumbling behind them and picking up the fallen grape clusters and throwing them back into the moving yellow bins. And so at a really young age, I knew that what my family was embarking on in the wine industry and essentially in our own label, and that came later in 1999, that we were doing something really special. And
When
so,
did you start? When did you start thinking? Because you're growing up, you're younger than me, but you're growing up pop culture.
we're puppies.
You're growing up pop culture. When did you say, you know what? Because I can pursue a career, but I see my family business as a career. How? Because sometimes we rebel or we want to do something different. Or did you fall in love with wine first and you're like, I can do this?
I would say that wine has always been a big part of my life. I mean, we like to say blood is in our veins, or wine is in our veins, not blood. You know what I mean? So that's just truly just the passion, the driving force with my familia. But for me, my light bulb moment happened when I was backpacking through South America after I graduated from San Francisco State University in 2008 in marketing and business. I embarked on an 8-month backpacking journey through South America and going through Peru, Chile, Argentina, venturing into the amazing wine growing regions there. And that's when I was like, wow, my familia, from Mexico, started a winery, but in Napa Valley. I
Yeah.
am truly interested to, embark on this wine brand journey for myself because I'm more interested in the marketing, the business side. And to follow those footsteps that my parents have started, and which first began through my abuelitos coming from
Yeah.
Mexico in the late 1950s. So for us, it's the American dream.
How long have you? No, it's a great story too. And your shout out to your mother because I've been fortunate to meet her. How long have you been with Ceja?
My goodness, I joined Ceja Vineyards, our very small team, in 2009.
Got it.
Shortly after I came back from South America for my backpacking sort of world sort of tour through South America, I joined our team as a marketing and sales director.
Got it. And how important, let's talk about that because you have, 95+% of the labor in Napa Valley is Mexican or Latino. And then you have registered wineries close to 1700 by the ABC. And then you have close to 500 tasting rooms. So not every winery has a tasting room, right? And that's even less percentage for Latinos, which we'll kind of go into that later. But how important is what you bring to Ceja and to the industry for people watching marketing?
Oh my goodness, it's everything. Especially, for instance, the past year, being in a pandemic, we just got out of shelter. Oh, gracias. Look at that sexy wine.
Something about the color and the aroma. Anyway, so you're saying marketing is everything, but let's talk about good marketing, right? Let's give some tips because people think that, hey, taking a picture, so many people take bad pictures, but let's just say you take good pictures. It's more than a picture, correct? It's being consistent. Give us some tips on effective marketing.
Yes, of course. Well, with, the methods of social media marketing specifically, yes, absolutely invest in a great camera. I just got the new iPhone and honestly, I have not looked back with getting I also have a professional camera, but if you have a good camera, that is where it's at. And know your angles too. I'm not talking you need to just know positioning and angling, invest in a tripod to steady camera movements. My mom and I are actually just launched this new show for her specifically in cooking called Amelia's Kitchen. Mm-hmm. And it's all about the angles, positioning, and writing more so of a structured script so that your speaking points and talking points if you're shooting videos. Lighting's a big thing as well. So invest in some good lighting, surrounding lighting, whether you're doing Zoom calls or if you're doing more of a feature cooking demonstration or whatnot.
Your story has to resonate.
Yes.
So if you're just taking a picture, bad lighting, people see how far you are from it. You're not accenting what you're trying to accent. And then the worst part, when you see filter after filter after filter, but let's talk about your story. What are you passionate about the most when you are in your position? You're Dalia Ceja, you had your own blog. What keeps you passionate day after day?
I think for me, it's staying authentic and true to myself while living this lifestyle branding. And for me, that's intertwined around food, wine, fashion, travel, fiestas, entertaining.
So and now a mother and a recent mother.
Yes. Luna Isabella is actually 8 months old today. I can't even believe it. Time has just flown by. So balancing motherhood with this continuous circle of passions revolving around food, wine, fashion, travel, fiestas. So that's where my personal passions go. And the future of Ceja Vineyards is to create really awesome digital content that will portray all of that stuff while intertwining our family's rich Mexican history and culture. And so that's something for me. And now that I have a daughter, important to always showcase our Mexican culture and our roots because, with looking back to how my parents, immigrated from Mexico, started working the vineyards, picking grapes, to buying their own land, planting vineyards, starting their own brand. We started from the ground up, and I always want to show a very true, authentic version of myself, and in a very humble way, though.
Oh yeah, I think it's more documenting everything you guys have gone through instead of creating content. I genuinely believe that the majority of people who have the ambition to start their own wine, to start their own food company, there's something there. So just document it. And I want everyone to realize, don't create content, document your content, because more than likely you're there. I think it's also like if you Google the Braceros program or YouTube, there isn't anything cool or easy to explain the beautiful part and the irony of the two countries making an agreement to bring in, people from Mexico for labor. And then sometimes the last 10 years, you have people saying, go back to your country. It's like, no, they were brought here. They came here for a better quality of life. They made their family foundation. Our kids, you and us, and basically the kids, were assimilating in this country, and so if there's one person that can rewrite and exemplify the Braceros program and how it impacted Napa Valley, it would be you. I always say that, you look at South Florida and the culture and the hotness and the sexy and the fashion has to be given to Latinos who came to Florida in the 80s and shaped South Beach what it is today, right? But we're always kind of shunned upon with these bad stories. So if you can do this, what is the plan for Dalia Ceja in the next 2 years? What's your goal?
Oh my goodness. Well, in my 5-year goal, now that we are finally on the brink of breaking ground to build our winery in Napa Carneros, which is officially happening, it's really going to be an exciting time for us because we're going to be developing secondary wine brands. My brother Ariel Ceja and I, he oversees Wine Club and some of our internal team efforts for Ceja Vineyards. We want to create some awesome secondary wine brands that focus around millennials too. Price point will be different. So the volume will really speak for itself to be able to distribute at a larger scale. So we're going to be creating some fun, awesome digital content that will reflect some fun branding that we have up our sleeves.
Yeah, no, right. We have to make Napa more accessible, because what happens is when you think of Napa to the younger folks, it's usually a special occasion. It's the typical 12 people in a limo, and that's it, right? When in the Bay Area, we're 30 minutes from Napa. We should be there as often as we go to San Francisco. The food has got to step up. I mean, there's opportunity. And so that I like that 2-year plan, which you have. Let me ask you this. Do you believe it's important for more winemakers that happen to be Latino to have success in the industry?
Absolutely.
Some may look at it as competition, but why do you say absolutely? I agree with you. Why would you say absolutely?
Well, I'm proud to share that we're founders of MAVA, which stands for the Mexican American Vintners Association, that last year marked 10 years, a decade of creating an association that collaborates now with over 15 other Latino family-owned wineries throughout the entire state of California. No. And for us, we help each other out in the association with marketing, sales, events, obviously pre-pandemic.
Knowledge,
education. So all of these factors. And in my own philosophy, no, we all wear a million different hats. And I think the success of one person can be the success of so many others. And why not educate others that are small little guys? That's how we started. And been mentored by so many amazing vintners and winemakers and other businesses to allow us to get to where we are. So I personally want to give back to the community, to support other Latino family-owned wineries. Absolutely.
I think the percentages are going to head that way when you look at the disparaging numbers, right? The big gap. So that's awesome that you believe in that. Because if you look at, I don't know if you listen to hip hop, but if you look at, how it started back then with the labels with Diddy and Jay and Dr. Dre, and then look at them now, what they're doing. They've achieved massive success, but very few people can really say they're selfish because they're giving back. And, why do they do it? It's not that complicated. It's to give back, because the more we do successfully individually, when we do achieve more, as a team, as a movement, it's better for the culture. It's better for the youth. Like when you're talking about secondary brands, attending to the millennials price point, connecting with them, because that's the future, right? And what the pandemic has taught us is that we can't be Blockbuster Video. We have to be Netflix, Hulu, and streaming. So that's awesome. Let's have some fun questions. Are you ready for some fun questions?
Shoot.
This is, let's talk about your pet peeves in the business.
Oh my goodness. Pet peeves. I remember when I was first starting out in my early 20s, and for me, I'm a woman. Some people say I have a baby face, but I'm in marketing, I'm in sales. And so when in the beginning, when I was meeting with sales, like SOMs and sales managers and restaurant managers and buyers, I'd get shunned a lot of the times. It'd be like, who's this young blonde-haired güerita girl? She doesn't even look Mexican. She's saying she's coming from a Mexican wine family. Like, they didn't believe me. And because I was a young female, I got shunned a lot. So that is pet peeve number one.
Don't
Since then, I have
don't.
gained
Mhm.
confidence. I've gone back to school, gotten my MBA, have really tuned up and fine-tuned, the way I speak about wine, the way that I carry myself. And so confidence has been super key to tackling that hurdle and challenge for myself. But that was always been such a pet peeve. And now I don't get that as much, but that will always be one of the things that I will never forget, that really challenged me to be better at what I do and to really understand the industry that I'm in.
15 years from now, you're going to be happy you have a baby face. So,
I would say so.
yeah, talk about your pet peeves in society.
Oh my goodness. Well, look at what's going on with the world.
Yep.
I mean, we don't need to get into it, but just with politics alone, like, it's just mind blowing things that society in general are having to do. Actually, this upcoming next month marks Women's History Month, and I was invited to speak on a panel through Napa Valley Vintners Association, speaking of our own challenges and people who have inspired us to be who we are today. And I think it's so inspiring that so many women from all over the world, Black, Mexican, Asian, are really speaking up and allowing themselves to finally be heard. So, that Me Too movement, and now everything going on with, politics, which we don't need to get into. I mean, it's definitely not only a pet peeve, but something that is finally, there's people speaking up.
It's the way people act, right? Because you're
Yes.
entitled to your belief, but it's the way people act that bug me, like they act the fool. But I said earlier on a podcast, I was giving them the example of everything is needed in social media, but if you don't use it right, it's like I asked him, "What's your favorite meal?" He said, "Tres leches." I said, "Social media is like tres leches. Every day, it's not good for you, right? But it's that good consumption once in a while, or like I said, with this Pinot, Ceja.
Ooh, I love tres leches. I also like a nice flan. We make an almond infused flan paired with our dulce beso late harvest dessert wine. It's
No,
para chuparse los dedos.
that sounds good. Did you vote in this past election?
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
good. And I ask people if they voted, not who they voted for, but as long as they vote. I want people to see Latinos as passionate, assimilated in this country, business minded, and that they contribute to the economy and the greater good of this country. As long as they're voting, that's it. And for those who don't vote, I also let them know you should probably get informed, because if anything has taught us now is that local elected officials impact our lives and
Yes.
our just as much. Listen, California, we love it. Hey, we're from the Bay, but there's some some challenges that we've gone through as small business owners that we have to get past. And that's I tell people: vote, get informed, and
Yes.
then, your voice is stronger when you're smarter, I guess,
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. That's how we get into that political talk without getting into political views, right? Exercise the vote. I tell people that. If it's the last day on earth, what is your last meal?
Woo, that is hard. I mean, you know what I was dreaming about the other day, actually, in regards to authentic Mexican cuisine? A mole. Oh my goodness, for me. And I may be a little biased, but my mamacita makes an insane mole with a very traditional Mexican rice. But a mole that we learned from Puebla in Mexico when we were there a few years back, and it is just to die for. She has it cooking for it's almost like 2 weeks or something like that. The mole madre, if you've ever heard, in Mexico City. God, what is the name of his restaurant? My mind is just boggling up right now. But for me, a mole, and in regards to seafood, because I've been on a seafood kick, I'd say ceviche. We make a mean ceviche de salmon paired with our Pinot Noir is a match made in heaven.
I have to try that salmon ceviche. But no, I like the simplicity of the mole. It's your last meal on earth. It's very
homemade tortilla. Let me forget. I almost forgot.
Yeah, because it's the last day on earth, so we don't have to worry about running a cardio. You know? So, all right, now 3 people that you love to have dinner with that are alive.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say that aren't alive. Michelle Obama.
There you go.
That would be amazing. Just because I'm fascinated by her. Lady Gaga. And Dolores Huerta.
The good thing is those 3 can be possible. Those 3 are possible. They're within the reach, especially all the great stuff in the history you're doing and where you're taking this, you know, so that's cool. And what would be the conversation?
Oh my goodness. Life, history, social justice, culture, hardships, celebration of where they've been in life and what they've overcome. You know, I'm always so fascinated when people speak up of, you know, a lot of these hardships that they've endured and what they did to overcome them, you know, and those 3 women have overcome so many different obstacles and have achieved so much greatness, but, you know, their journey started very humbly. I mean, look at Dolores Huerta, you know.
Dolores is the living legend behind the Si Se Puede, and I don't think she even got enough credit for her part in it. And not to say anything, you know, against Cesar, but, you know, she gets, there's more to that story, more to her excellence. And so that is actually one of the people I admire, is Dolores, because I guess I know, you know, I've done research and I know people who know her, and I've, you know, sat with her, and I was right that she did a lot more than she gets credit for, but it's okay because she's okay with it, because it's about the movement and the change that they created, you know. But I'm glad that you mentioned her. Michelle Obama, enough said, and of course Lady Gaga. You know, Lady Gaga, especially after the Weeknd's whack ass performance at the Super Bowl. You know,
no, I was trying to think of 3 very uniquely different women in you know, living. If deceased, I would have said Frida Kahlo. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's remarkable. But you said living, so I went in that direction.
Listen, I ask those questions, not only are they fun, but it tells the viewers a lot about the person we interview, you know. Only one time when I was like, what the WTF? But I had to learn and keep my straight face. I'm a journalist. But anyways, Dalia, it's been great to catch up. It's been years since we hung out, so we got to connect soon. If anything, COVID has taught us many lessons. One of them is to appreciate the good, like-minded folks. So I look forward to visiting you guys at Casa Ceja. Say hi to your mom and your brother for me, and we'll see you soon.
Muchas gracias, amigo. Nos vemos pronto en Casa Ceja.
Absolutely.